I'm unmuted here. I've joined the chat.
Hello.
Jade has joined the chat.
Jad has Jat.
We're
Why
off
am I
to a
always
great start.
I'm always malfunctioning. I think it's because we always film in the afternoon and I start work at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, so you've already done a whole day before we start recording.
I laugh so hard at myself when I'm editing because I'm like, oh my god, get your shit together.
It's good. I think it's great. I think people like hearing us fuck shit up.
Be human.
Yeah.
Or be. Yeah.
So, hi.
Hello.
How have you been?
Why am I always going into song? How have you been?
Yeah, I've been all sorts. I need to like save all my chaos stories for when we're actually recording so I can be like, so this week in the life of Jade.
Yes.
I just walk in the door and offload on you.
Because this week in the life of Jade, please tell us.
It's a whole segment of its own. This week in Jades of our lives.
I feel like you do need your own TV show. What happened to you last night. This morning?
Yeah, last night, this morning, I had my awesome first experience with a very, very drunk teenager who is legal. He's almost 20.
Which in Australia, legal drinking age is 18.
Oh, yes. So yeah, he went out last night, got very, very drunk and ended up in a 12:30 phone call with Mummy come get me. So I went and picked him up and heard of how he had been punched in the face by his friends, and he was very, very drunk. He could barely walk. It was fucking hilarious. And then he went and got in the shower and decided to sit over the shower drain.
Oh, no.
So at 2:30 this morning, when I decided to go in and check on him, I walked into the alcove in my house. So like his bedroom, bare bedroom, bathroom and toilet sort of is in a separate section of its own. And when I went to walk in there to check on my child, my passed out child in the shower, my adult child in the shower, he had sat over the drain and flooded my house. With his big butt, and it wasn't even like, oh yeah, here's a little puddle. Like it was a full ass flood, like a good 1.5 inches deep. Flooded the bathroom and toilet, went into his bedroom. It was all through the alcove and coming out into my kitchen.
Holy shit.
It took me 2 hours to sweep out the water.
I seen your Snapchats. It looked like Titanic when that scene and all the waters come rushing down the hallway.
I tell you what, if there was a door, he was being pushed off of it last night.
He would not
because there was not room for 2 people. So while he snoozed, I spent 2 hours brooming water out of my house.
Yeah.
And then used all the towels to mop it up and had to use the little carpet cleaner to suck all the water out of the carpet. And I got to bed right as my husband was getting up for work.
And then you had to get up several hours later to go to work yourself.
And then I got up and went to work. And that was great.
And yet you're not malfunctioning. I slept through the night.
I was just in a permanent state of malfunction, so it's just normal for me.
You're so tired that you're just amped up.
Yep, I'm just hyper from delirium.
And monster.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually referring to your lovely stroll through Birdwood.
Yeah, see, I have that many things. I never know where to start.
Literally a TV show.
Yeah. So was it yesterday morning? I decided, I had a client in the afternoon, so my morning was nice and free. So I was like, I'm going to go for a stroll through Birdwood Cemetery. Like you do. A weirdo. And I was like walking through, and anyone who actually knows me knows I'm trying very, very hard to get more in touch with my little spiritual self at the moment.
And thank you, because you have provided us with a lovely intro, a lovely story.
And then, so I was walking through the cemetery, and I swear one day someone's going to stumble across me in a cemetery and I'm going to end up committed. Because
just talking to yourself.
I have mad conversations. I'm walking through the cemetery, chatting away to everyone. I'm like, trying to do that. If anyone's here, if anyone wants to talk, I'm happy to listen. Now's your opportunity. Talk to me. And I was walking along and stumbled, sort of got to the end of this line of people and just suddenly felt real calm and at ease at this one grave. So I was like, oh, someone here wants to talk to me. So I'm standing on the end of the grave like a fucking nutcase going, okay, if you want to talk to me, I'm listening. Help me talk. Like, we can talk to each other. So I look over to read the grave. It was a beautiful gravestone. I actually posted pictures on my Instagram of it. Beautiful gravestone with an angel and stuff on it. Share them on the Boo page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I was drawn to it because it was beautiful. And I looked down at the dates and I was like, oh, they died on the 20th of December, which is my birthday. And I was like, that's really weird that I'm drawn to this one and it's on the date of like
one that's already not
Yeah.
exciting, but you're like, oh, what a cool coincidence.
That's it. Like it was like 1900 or something.
You just wait though.
Yeah. Oh, this gets better. This gets so much better. So I was like, yeah, they died in 1900 or something. So I was like, not on my actual day of birth, but
At the
on my
day,
birthday.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I wonder what their name is. So I'm trying to read their name. It was so dramatic. Like, it's all weathered, so it was really hard to read their name.
Faded.
Yeah. So I was like really concentrating to read the name, and I'm like, first name, Johann, and then I get to the Gottfried, and I lost my shit. I was like, quickly read it to be certain, because by this point I knew exactly who it was. Quickly read it to be certain, and then that's when I sent you the psychotic Snapchat.
Yes.
Because I was just like, oh my fucking god, what are the chances? I stumbled upon the grave of our second episode, the very first one I did on my own, Mr. Johann Gottfried Hoffmann.
That's unbelievable.
The fuck? I was so, well, as you would have known because you saw the Snapchat where I was losing my mind.
So animated. I'm so glad that you didn't voice chat me because that would have been very loud at work. I got goosebumps listening to your video.
Oh,
because I was like, what are the odds of you stumbling?
Right.
I know that Lyndoch and Barossa it's still a fair distance away from Birdwood.
Like, if I was going through, I assumed he would have been at Bethany Cemetery.
Bethany Cemetery, yeah.
I looked and looked and looked online. I never managed to find where he was actually buried. So I just assumed he would have been at Bethany because he was part of the Bethany church. So it would make sense. He lived in Lyndoch. Yep. It would have just made sense to me that he was in Bethany or Lyndoch.
Yeah.
But for him to be in Birdwood, knowing full well that, like, no, it's fine. I think at this point now, everyone who's listening knows us anyway.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
But yeah, like, for him to be so close to where I spend every single day, like, that was just insane. I feel like if I'd been at Lyndoch or Bethany, even Nuriupta, and stumbled across him, I would have been like, oh wow, that's Johann.
Yeah.
But for him to be in Birdwood, the fuck? And he died on my birthday.
Which is
the fuck?
Because did you have that in your notes?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know if I did.
You probably didn't pay attention to when he died. Like, you were just focusing on the trial. And
words, like,
you're just
what
speechless.
The hell? It was
Yeah.
crazy. And then of course my brain does the whole, like, there's no such thing as coincidence. Like, why is he here? Why was he my first case? Why is he in Birdwood? Why did he die on my birthday? Am I Johann Gottfried? Like, seriously.
Have you got German ancestry?
No, I don't. Oh, I've got it's like 0.2% Germanic Europe is what came up in my DNA test. Maybe he's my great-great-great-great-granddaddy or something.
Because he died in the 1900s. So
it was crazy.
That is crazy. Because what is the connection?
Yeah.
Why were you so drawn to it? Because you obviously stumbled upon him when you were doing I was going to say tour. Yeah,
just a little stroll, a morning walk. Even like me ending up opening the studio in Birdwood and everything, like, it was all just so weird. Like, why did I end up in Birdwood? Like, that was never anywhere I even looked. I didn't even look for a place there.
Yeah.
Like, the shop fell in my lap. Oh. Like, why was that the first episode that I did? Like, my brain's just gone a million miles an hour.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant when I said you stumbled upon him doing a tour. Cause sorry, when you did the Barossa.
I'm just so amped. I'm not listening to anything. Because, when I heard of his case, we went to a mystery, it was Ghosts of the Barossa thing run by Alan Tiller, and he was telling stories of, like, the witches of the Barossa and all the, like, ghost stories and haunted places, and that's where I first heard the story. So when we decided to do this, I was like, I want to do a local one first. I'm going to do that witch story because it stuck with me.
And what is it about the Godfrey?
Like, it's insane. Like, he's buried with one of his daughters, and, like, one of his brothers is there. I'm pretty sure one of his parents was there as well. Like, there was quite a few of his family members there. So the whole family must have moved to Birdwood somewhere.
To Birdwood at some point.
Which,
maybe
I mean,
this was like after the trial.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously did all the hard time. They surely wouldn't have lived at that farm the whole time.
Yeah, maybe they moved from Lyndoch because obviously in Lyndoch they would have been known as the guy that stabbed the neighbour.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And
then causing all this drama with the trial and condemning someone as a witch.
Yep.
Is that the word you use? Condemn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. And well, Birdwood was settled like everywhere, was settled by Germans. Anyway,
Yeah.
because Birdwood was originally Bloomberg, and then during the war they changed the name because Bloomberg sounded too German, so they changed it to Birdwood. Yeah.
Well, if anyone out there is
I'm-
into anything like this and would know what this connection could possibly mean,
Yeah, let us know.
yeah,
Because
please.
there's too many things, like too many coincidences. Why am I
And that
like
it's just not just literally that you found his grave and he happened to be your first episode you did, but also the birthday thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Yep.
leaves me speechless as well.
Right. It's just so many ways that my life is linked back to this man for some
To
stupid reason.
Gottfried.
And I know
That's-
I could be reaching. People are probably sitting there right now being like, oh my God, Jade, calm down. You're not the reincarnation of Johann Gottfried Hoffman. Both of our names
Punch
start with
the
J. What the hell? I'm blown away. Like, and now every time I drive past the cemetery, I'm like, do I
Yeah.
need to drop in and visit old mate? Like, he's my bro. We fam now.
I wonder if he has any like living relatives.
Surely there would be.
Yeah, distant like.
Have we
Should
been
we,
rambling
like-
for like 97 minutes?
Yeah, it's a 20-minute intro.
Well, if you're still listening,
if you're still listening,
I have a haunted tale today about the Winchester Mansion.
I was gonna butt in and be like, not from Australia.
Yeah, also not from Australia. So I think this is my first non-Australian one, isn't it?
On your own, yeah. 'Cause we did
Yeah.
the Menendez brothers.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. True. Yep. So this one is about the Winchester Mansion. So it's a 24,000 square foot mansion. It is listed as one of America's most fascinating architectural feats.
I love that it's still open.
Yeah.
Like people can still go there. Oops,
Yep.
Keep punching.
You
the
can go and do
microphone.
tours there. And it's also listed in one of Time Magazine's top 10 most haunted places in the US.
Really?
Yeah. So it's obviously quite crazy active.
What has happened there?
Yeah. So Sarah Winchester is the heir, I guess, to the Winchester fortune, so the rifles, but she married into the family.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to obviously start with, I don't know why I said obviously, because how would you know? But that's why you're listening. So I'll start with a little bit about Sarah herself. She actually had quite a tragic, really tragic life. So she was born in 1839 as Sarah Lockwood Pardee, and she grew up in New Haven, Connecticut. So again, not Australian. She was the daughter of I'm branching out. She was the daughter of a very successful carpenter. What they believe sparked Sarah's interest in architecture because it would have been something she was exposed to from quite young. So, sadly, he would die in 1860 when Sarah was just 21 years old. Sarah was actually very, very intelligent and was blessed enough at the time to actually be allowed to study.
Allowed to study.
Wow. She would excel in foreign languages, music, maths, and science.
Very talented.
Yeah, very, very intelligent girl. So mixed with her intelligence was the fact that she was actually quite beautiful. And she was, you see a lot in the time where they say, oh, she was beautiful. And you look at them and you're like, you know what? That's a handsome woman. She was actually really beautiful.
Let me have a quick. You keep talking.
And
I'm going to look her up.
She was teeny tiny and stood at a mere 4'11".
4'11".
Yep, she was itty bitty.
Wow.
Isn't she pretty?
Stunning. Look at this. That's what I was imagining.
The old lady.
Yeah.
So being intelligent, beautiful, and petite, that gave her the pick of all of the eligible bachelors in town. And on September 30th, 1862, she married her childhood neighbour, William Winchester. So not long after they married, William's sister would die in childbirth. So his sister, who is now Sarah's sister-in-law, had been part of Sarah's life for her entire life because they grew up next to each other. Yeah. So her infant son then also died soon after, then followed by her 2-year-old son. In that small window, Sarah lost her father, her sister-in-law, her infant nephew, and then her 2-year-old nephew. So at the time of their marriage, William, Sarah's husband, was poised to take over his father's textile factory, which is what the Winchesters started with. However, William had grander plans, and in 1866, he founded the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. So she married into basically a fabric company and is now
turned into...
Yeah. It's now the rifle company. In June of that year, Sarah gave birth to their first child, a little girl named Annie Pardee Winchester. However, and his little body couldn't process nutrients, and she died just 6 weeks later, having slowly starved to death. How terrible for that poor woman.
Her loss that she's already encountered.
Yep, and we're only 6 years into it. William was devastated by grief, and this led him to bury himself in his work, building the Winchester Empire. In
Let's have to put that way.
In 1873, the company would go on to produce the Winchester Model 73, a rifle capable of shooting 15 shots in a row. It was an unstoppable killing machine and earned the nickname the gun that won the West.
Is it shotguns? Winchester's a shotgun?
Yeah. The company would go on to sell over 700,000 Winchester rifles between 1873 and 1900. So starting from a tiny little company, it just went massive really quickly. And the Winchester name obviously went from being known for textiles to being a gun company.
Yeah,
like
because I don't think many people knew that there were textiles.
That's it. Like, I didn't know. I just always assumed the Winchester company was guns right from the start.
Because that's such a jump of...
Yeah. From one... there's no... Like, side quest, Holden, the car company, started off making horse saddles.
Really?
So they went from horse saddles to carriages to chassis for General Motors in America to then making cars. Wow. So even though they evolved so much over time, it was still always transport.
That's true, yes.
Yeah. Whereas this went from textiles to guns.
It's
like there's no natural progression. Yeah.
Not even remotely similar or in
That's it.
The same field at all.
It's not like they went from growing grains to owning a bakery. Like there was no natural...
you use those. Yeah. It's not like you use the textiles materials in any way with the gun.
Exactly. So it's just total flip on its head. But he did well because it was insane. So in 1880, Sarah would then go on to face a horrible 10 months filled with loss and grief, beginning with the loss of her own mother, followed by the passing of William's father, Oliver, who would die, leaving William in full control of the Winchester factory. Sadly, William's success was cut very, very short when only 3 months later he too would die.
No.
Yep. So then her mum, her father-in-law, and her husband. Tuberculosis would take Sarah's husband's life in 1881, and he would leave his wife $20 million and a 50% stake in the growing Winchester Rifle Company. So I tried to see what $20 million in 1881 would be today.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't find something that
would give you like an equivalent.
Yeah, that did the... Because it would have probably gone from... I mean, I don't know if it was a thing in America, but like where we went from like pounds and shillings and stuff. So you lose that conversion.
Yes.
I couldn't find out what it was, but it would have been astronomical.
20 million is a lot of money. Yeah. Even in nowadays, that's a lot of money.
I couldn't even fathom how much 20 million would have been in 1881.
That's a big empire.
Absolutely.
Ding, ding, ding. Number one. I should have probably said it.
So at 42, she was both widowed and childless.
That's so sad.
Yep.
That is heartbreaking. That is a lot of loss for one person.
Yep. So she's lost her dad, her mum, her sister-in-law, her 2 nephews, her husband, and a child. That poor woman.
Wow.
By 42.
By 42. That's still very young.
Yep. And in those days, though, 42, she was out to pasture. She wasn't getting remarried. She wasn't having kids. She was done.
Yeah.
And here she is, still quite young by our standards, but she's got nobody.
That's just the fridge dropping ice. There's no one banging on.
It's like someone's knocking on the door. Wait, isn't this how horror movies start?
Yeah, what was that noise?
The fridge.
You can go check it out if you want.
I'll be right back.
No. Classic.
So in 1884, Sarah's physician would recommend that she move to a warmer, drier climate to help deal with her worsening rheumatoid arthritis. So that prompted the move to California, where she would buy a quaint 2-story farmhouse in San Jose on 45 acres. Sarah, ever the philanthropist, made a large donation to the New Haven Hospital and then left Connecticut behind. Sadly, that same year, grief would strike again.
Oh, shut up.
with Sarah's oldest sister, Mary Converse, dying. Sarah then convinced her remaining 2 sisters to move their families to San Jose to be near her. She supported them financially for the remainder of her life.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yep. So obviously whatever family she had left, she just wanted close.
Mm-hmm.
She, poor woman, lost so much. After a failed marriage, Sarah's sister Estelle would succumb to a life of substance abuse. So now she's lost another sister, and Sarah would shake hands with grief again. Her niece Marion, who was known by Daisy, would move into the quaint 8-room farmhouse to keep her aunt company and would stay there until she then married 6 years later. So rumours say that Sarah would visit a local psychic medium searching for answers. Why had she been so unlucky in her life, and why had she lost her only child, Annie? This is where it sort of gets mixed up, because some people say it never happened. Other people say, yep, she saw the psychic because she'd had so much loss in her life. She thought she was cursed, which makes sense.
You just want, some sort of answer.
Yep. So why had she lost her only child, Annie, never fallen pregnant again, and then lost her beloved husband, William, as well as so many family members? The psychic would take this opportunity to lead her to believe that she was haunted by the victims of her husband's trade. She had blood on her hands and was weighed down by the souls of every person ever killed by a Winchester rifle.
Oh, that's the whole story.
Yep. So the psychic took advantage of Sarah already believing she was cursed and was like, well, yeah, you are. So the psychic told Sarah that the only way to get through this was to build. She had to build a home and confuse the spirits so they could never find her. She had to build and keep on building.
That makes sense then, why rooms lead to nowhere, and
Yep.
They're very intricate architecturally.
Yep. Construction began almost immediately, turning the quaint 2-story farmhouse into what would come to be known as, I'm going to struggle saying this, Lalena Village. That's what we're going with.
That's what
we're going with Lalena.
I butchered every single Utah name last time.
So between 1890 and 1900, building did not stop at all. In an economic depression, the mysterious wealthy widow was spending all of her time and money building and adding on to her home. In 2016, the preservation team discovered a new room. It had been sealed off for over 100 years following the earthquake of 1906, which destroyed a portion of the home and trapped Sarah in the process. The room was filled with perfectly preserved Victorian furniture, clothing, paintings, and a doll. That was all that was in that room.
A little creepy.
So who knows what other secret passages are hiding in the walls of this maze-like mansion?
I would love to. That would feel like being in Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole.
Yep.
Trying to go room to room.
Every corner you take, things would be different.
Yeah. I just want to experience every inch of that.
I feel like you would need to stay there for a week, and you'd probably still find new things.
I feel like you just need to live there for like months. Yep. Every day you go venture into a different location and try to draw a map.
It would just be amazing. I found some people have tried to do maps.
Yep.
I found pictures of it.
When you explain a mansion and someone's just constructed and added rooms, I don't think you understand exactly what that means. There's literally rooms coming off of rooms.
Yep, and rooms within rooms.
And then rooms without windows.
If you picture, say, a 3-story house, there are rooms that would go sort of in between level 1 and 2, but they would be normal room size. So you'd have like a half-height room, a full-size room, and then a half-height room. So on a 2-story floor, you've got 3 levels built into a 2-story area. It's mental. So the 1906 earthquake would measure at 7.6 on the Richter scale, and it devastated California, leaving many people homeless and burning down entire sections of San Jose. How ironic that we would be reading this now.
Kind of happening.
Sarah would make many anonymous donations to the community to help rebuild the devastated state. Okay, so now I've written it differently. So now it's Lalanda Village. The damage to Lalanda Villa paled in comparison and resulted in the demolition of a 7-story tower that had been rebuilt 16 times. So she had a 7-story tower in the center of the building, and 16 times it had been rebuilt because it would fall down or she'd change her mind. And she also removed the entire 4th floor after the earthquake.
Yep.
So
too much PTSD from
being
trapped.
Yep. So Winchester was an ailing and private person, and the effects of her worsening arthritis had begun crippling her and deforming her body. She chose to spend all of her time at the home rather than rub elbows with the Californian elite. She had all she needed at home. The staff at the mansion were treated and paid so well, they saw Sarah as family and were fiercely loyal. No one uttered a word about what happened in that house, even after she died.
Whether she was actually crazy, whether
Yep.
she saw ghosts, whether
Yep.
she did see the spirits of her husband's sins.
Yep. So all the rumours that went around the town, no one confirmed or denied them. They never said a word. The public gossiped and the newspapers published stories, never letting fact get in the way of a good read. The San Francisco Chronicle claimed, "The sound of the hammer is never hushed because Winchester believed the end of construction would bring about her death, but most people believe the heiress was trying to appease the vengeful victims of the Winchester rifles." One thing we know for sure is true: Sarah yearned for her husband and child, and after Sarah's passing, a safe was found in the home that contained another safe inside that one, which then contained a lockbox that held only 2 locks of hair, one belonging to Annie and one belonging to William.
Oh,
Is that not the most precious thing?
she's keeping them so
Yep.
locked up.
All that money and everything that she could have, and the only thing she cared about was
In
a
the
lock of hair
safe.
from her husband and her daughter.
Oh.
Right? Right? Is that not fucking precious? That is so,
That's
like,
sweet.
that's feels. Even if you don't have feels, you feel that one. So, over the next 36 years, Sarah transformed what was once a quaint Californian cottage into a massive 7-story sprawling mansion. There was no master plan, no architect, plans were not written down, changes were made often and usually on a whim. Sarah was known to often walk into a room that was being built and say, nope,
Change
put a
her
door,
mind.
put a window, change it, close the room, go to something else.
And just constantly be, you know what? Keep them guessing.
Yeah. Yep. So, however, there was one constant that made it very, very obvious how openly superstitious Sarah was. Many things in the house were built in patterns of 7, 11, and 13. 13 bathrooms, 13 windows, 7 landings on a staircase, 11 panels on a wall, 13 hooks, 11 lights, 13 steps, etc.
7, 11, 13?
Yep. Everything was built in combinations of that. So entire wings would be constructed only to be torn down again. Stairs were built to nowhere. Doors opened to brick walls or to sudden deep drops.
How safe.
Yep. So the massive home even featured a seance room located in what's known as a witch's cap. So the conical shape of the witch's cap is said to be better for contacting spirits. So this room has 3 entryways and only 1 exit. It was believed that this would be where Sarah would spend most of her time trying to communicate with her husband and daughter, and she felt protected by the secret door security method that she'd built. Surely any spirits summoned that weren't her husband or daughter wouldn't be able to work out how to leave the room and would be confined to the seance room. Only Sarah would know the correct door to escape. So spiritualism was very in fashion at the time, and anyone who was anyone was adding seance rooms to their homes. This was how Victorian era people would process the grief of losing loved ones through war and disease. War and disease both ran rife at the time, although I'm sure not many of them had puzzled entryways into their seance rooms. After nights spent contacting the spirits, Sarah would often emerge from the rooms with new building plans. Was she communicating with her husband and daughter? Was she attempting to contact Winchester victims? We'll never know, but what we do know is regardless of whom or what she was contacting, there's no denying the many paranormal activities of the Winchester Mansion. So on the 5th of September 1922, at the age of 83, Sarah Pardee Winchester would pass away in her sleep in one of her 40 bedrooms. And they were all actively used. So she would sleep in a different bedroom every night so the spirits couldn't find her because they wouldn't know what room she would be in. As news of her passing spread, tradesmen would drop their tools where they stood, leaving walls half built, nails half nailed, floors half laid. After 36 years, construction in the Winchester Mansion was over and the Winchester Mystery House was born. So Mystery is a well-owned middle name for this San Jose Victorian mansion. This home boasts 160 rooms, 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 fireplaces, 17 chimneys, 2 ballrooms, 40 bedrooms, 40 stairways, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, 3 elevators. And then I wrote 2 kitchens again. So I don't know what the 2 is. 2 somethings. So
That's a lot of rooms.
Yep. So when Sarah would die, her fortune was spread between many charities, with $200,000 and all of her belongings being left to her beloved niece Daisy. However, her will didn't mention the house. So the house was deemed useless to anyone in its condition and was auctioned off. Once sold, former roller coaster designer John H. Brown and his wife Mamie would lease the home. and move their family into the sprawling mansion. The purchase of the mansion would only include 5 acres, and the remaining 40 acres sold separately. After attempts to turn the property into a theme park were denied by the town,
No thanks.
the Browns settled on turning the home into a tourist attraction. Merely 5 months after Sarah's passing, Amy Brown would become the first tour guide at the Winchester Mystery House.
Didn't take long.
Right? And in 1931, the Browns would go on to purchase the mansion. Their family still own and run it today.
Getting their money.
Yep. The townspeople were so eager to peek behind the curtain and see what actually went on behind the closed doors of the eccentric widow's home that the legend of the mansion even attracted people such as Harry Houdini.
Oh, wow.
While on a nationwide tour debunking spiritualism, he visited the home. Houdini would tour the building, searching for answers and eager to shut down rumours of the hauntings and spirituality inside the house, but instead left with more questions. He believed as a master of illusions, he could spot a trick or a sleight of hand, and he would be able to shut down any rumours of any ghosts inside the house. His intentions was to prove that psychics and mediums were con artists preying on grieving women. But after a midnight visit to the seance room, he had to admit that he had no answers for the strange and unusual things that he experienced in there. He named it a house full of mysteries, and then the name stuck. Ghostly tales are one matter, but real-life encounters are entirely different. And at the Winchester Mystery House... At the Winchester Mystery House... At the Winchester Mystery House, both visitors and employees have claimed to see many, many, many crazy things.
Ooh, interesting.
Nearly a century after Houdini's visit, the public is still enamoured with the Winchester Mystery House and its resident spirits. Lights flicker on and off. Visitors and tour guides have felt phantom tugs on their clothing, tugs that tight that they've pulled people to the floor. They've heard footsteps walk straight through a room while sitting on couches and chairs, and not a person has been standing in the room. It's so spooky.
It's trippy, yeah.
Yep. Visitors quite often complain of chest pains and have claimed to feel separated from their bodies and spaced out when they walk into the room where Sarah died. People have claimed to have seen Sarah's beloved Yorkshire Terrier running the halls and have heard childlike voices. A number of employees and a few visitors claim to have crossed paths with Clyde, a moustached man sometimes seen pushing a wheelbarrow in the basement or trying to repair the fireplace in the ballroom.
So do you reckon these are workers that have just
I think
passed
so.
during construction?
Yeah.
But the children, do you think it's souls of
I'd say...
the Winchester?
No, I reckon because they make a point to mention how well looked after her staff were.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe it was one of those things where, like, you know, the maids and stuff lived on site. So maybe their kids were there, and that could be where the kids come from.
I suppose they weren't very OHS, like you can't have kids on a construction site.
So they would have had people, like, they would have been...
kids running around.
Yeah.
Heard.
And that's
stuck in the
what
loop.
Sticks around, stuck in the loop, exactly. Clyde appears so strongly that visitors on tour have been known to comment to staff about how much they like the period-correct costumes of the hired actor fixing the ballroom fireplace. They have never hired an actor to play Clyde.
That's... to give the goosebumps.
Right. So, however, the most commonly seen ghost doesn't have a name. It's just a shadow peering through one of the mansion's many windows, one blink and it's gone. When I was watching things on YouTube doing the research, there's a picture that someone's taken in a mirror and it looks like Sarah standing behind them in the reflection in the mirror, which is really cool.
Scary or?
No, just like
cool.
she's just standing there.
Yeah.
Visitors have also said they see a woman in black walking towards the witch's cap and then vanishing upon entry. Her footsteps can still be heard shuffling until she vanishes. Grieving Sarah would have most likely always worn black, and she appears in black clothing in any photos that were taken at the mansion.
Well, there's nothing wrong with black.
Right. So a lot of people assume that the woman in black is Sarah, and the shuffling, she would have shuffled because she had arthritis. Yeah. Could it be Sarah Winchester? Sarah Winchester? Could it be Sarah Winchester?
I think you need a reboot. We need to turn you off and turn you back on again.
What happened? So could it be Sarah Winchester still overseeing her passion project? Did she bring something through a portal playing with seances? Is it just people so desperate to see something that they imagine seeing her? Is it someone who lost their life due to a Winchester rifle? Who knows?
Good question. Because I'd never actually thought of that, about the seance and bringing
Yeah.
the spirits to the house. And then because it's such a confusing house, they are
Yep.
actually confused and stuck there.
That one of the things that I saw said that could very well be she's managed to pull people into the house, but then they can't get out.
Because it's so confusing.
Yeah.
So she's managed to accomplish what she did, but
Yep.
the spirits she's trapped in there are vengeful in any way.
Yeah. They're just like, they're not angry, they're not nasty, they're just stuck. And it's like the photos of the place are insane. Like stairs that just
I was looking at some as you
they
talking.
go up until you can't stand upright anymore.
Yeah, and mirrors in weird corners.
Yeah.
And just literally stairs to nowhere. Doors that open to another door that opens to a brick wall.
Yep. Windows just randomly in a room that doesn't face outside. It'll just face into another room, and there's this beautiful elaborate window. No expense has been spared. Everything's built so beautifully, but it's just so weird. It makes no sense.
Imagine seeing a room, like a stunning room from the outside, or a tower or something, and not being able to find how to get to it. That would do my head in.
Yep. Everything I watched on the house, you're always seeing different sections.
Yeah.
But there's massive parts of it that are blocked off because there is, nails hanging out of walls and half a wall built and floors that just drop to nowhere. So there's parts that people haven't been into for
a very long time.
Yeah, yep. Because the family who has it now is torn between, do we finish the project to make it safe for people to be able to come through, or do we leave it as it is? So
immaculate, yes.
Yeah. And there's hundreds of doors. Like there's a storage area where there's windows made ready to go in, doors ready to go in that have just never been fitted to anything.
Because they just dropped their tools
Yeah.
and left as soon as she.
Yep.
Yeah. I would love for it to be, I mean, surely over the years they've had to do some sort of maintenance and change things anyway.
Yeah.
Surely they can kind of continue, because you want to see those rooms that
Yeah.
have not been touched for so long.
I think like if you're in a room and you can see her vision of where the room was going, like finish it.
If you can see the vision.
Yeah.
I get that, yeah.
But if it's just like, if they look at it and go, it's just a square room, and they don't know, then maybe leave it. Because if she had intentions for that room to be something, because then it's still her plan that's being made.
Yeah,
that makes
you
sense.
could just be like one of the workers.
Yeah.
That's finishing off her vision.
Exactly. And then that could open a whole new
section.
And
then even more people will come because they'll be like, oh, it's a section I have never seen before. Because there's some people that are probably very passionate or very obsessed about the Winchesters.
Yeah. Well, they never paid someone to come in and do a floor plan. Mm-hmm. So the floor plans that we've found are ones where people have visited the house multiple times.
And done it out of obsession or out of... Yeah.
Because you see, like, as you scroll through the pictures on Google, some of the floor plans are so different to the next photo.
Yeah.
And it's because someone would have just interpreted it differently.
Oh, wow. So there's so many different versions, so many different interpretations.
Yep.
It's not just one set thing. That's amazing.
Yep. And because there's rooms built on top of rooms.
We need to add that to our list if we ever go to America.
I want to play hide and seek in the Winchester Mystery Mansion.
Let's.
Yes.
I'm literally going to start a list of places that you and I are going to visit when we become unbelievably... I was just going to say great at it.
And we can go to Salem. Oh, I want to go to Salem so badly.
That is definitely on the list. I don't even know how to explain how excited I would be to be in Salem. Imagine being in Salem Halloween or just all of October, really.
Yeah.
In that era. But I think I learned a lot on the Winchester stuff. Like I definitely didn't know that they started off as a textile company. That's a big change, like we said. But that, I don't know why I thought that they lived there together, and that's why she thought the house was haunted by the Winchester curse. So she'd moved there by herself. Yeah. I don't know, it's a bit hard to...
And I found photos of the original house too.
Yeah.
So you can see how much it's changed.
How much she's added on.
But it says a lot about her that she had all this money and she went and got a quaint little 8-room house. Like just brought this tiny little house because at the time that was all she needed, but then copped all that extra grief and she just went, you know what? I snapped.
But it was nice to hear that she looked after her employees, like the maids and all that. Like it was nice to hear that.
They probably paid very well as well.
The work they were doing at the time.
Like she didn't care about hoarding her money or anything. The Winchester company would have been making money quicker than she could have spent it.
So that's what she received at the time, but she was still making more on top of that.
Yeah. So I'd say they were obviously very, very well looked after, because for all those years later to never open their mouth, to not say, oh yeah, she was a bit kooky,
to still be very loyal.
She's dead, and they're still not saying, they're just not answering questions.
Get to the grave.
And there were reporters that would stalk her staff member her staff members at their houses to try and get information about what was going on,
because she was just so wildly known.
And being the Californian elite in the 20s and 30s, it would have been, oh, we need all the stories. She's this
one of the goss.
And she's this filthy rich widow that just lives in the crazy mansion at the end of the street, and no one knows anything about her.
That's unbelievable. I've learnt a lot today, I think, on the Winchesters, definitely.
Last time I heard a story about a crazy mansion at the end of the street, a man came out of there with scissors for hands. I love the look on your face that you thought I was saying something so serious.
Then. Yeah, I thought you were explaining something that you grew up with.
And then you were just like, no, Jade.
I know what you're talking about. As you will say, hit the little bell.
Yep.
So you get notified when we post.
And if you have anything you want us to cover, let us know. Shoot us a message.
Give us some recommendations.
Something exciting to cover.
I think we'll stick to fortnightly still. Yep. We just had the extra
Ted just got Bundy the little bonus Ted Bundy one.
Just so you weren't waiting too long.
Every now and again we might do one like that. A
little bonus one.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, we might try and do a Patreon or something along those lines.
And that'd be fun.
I think because there's a lot that I cut out that's not necessarily filthy, but that I might not want my mum to hear. Not specifically just my mum, but I think I cut a lot out, but we could... post things on there that you know what you're in for when you go onto there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what Jade's humour is going to be like.
For anyone who knows me, it'll be me uncut.
To get a little bonus extra stuff that you know what you're in for.
Yes.
If we put it that way.
You know it's going to be so fun to know that there's a place that I can say all my Jadeisms.
But I'm not
they aren't going to get cut out.
It's the true 100% Jade, not the another cut version.
You guys are fucked.
But yes, I'm not sure what we'll do next episode.
You have to listen to find out.
I've done some research on Richard Ramirez. Do you want to do that one with me? He's a lot to unpack, but I think we could cover him in one episode.
Yeah.
Because he's not quick. He has a lot of crimes.
But in a short
span of time that it's somehow easy to cover.
Yeah.
He didn't go on to school or anything like that, so there's a lot behind him, but not quite as technical as he's fucked up.
Oh yeah.
His upbringing, that's a huge nature versus nurture product. But we'll get into that in the next episode.
We will see you then.
But yeah, give us a like on Insta. Give us a shout out. We'll see you next episode.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.